In this lesson, we're going to learn about conditional statements. I've included a work file for this, and it's called conditionalstatements.fla. Conditional statements are decision-making actions that evaluate a condition and take action based on the result. The condition can be almost anything, the contents of a number variable being more than a specified value, or even the amount of a flash presentation that is currently downloaded to the viewer's computer being less than the total size of that presentation. And this second thing is how we make preloaders. A conditional statement checks how much of the presentation has loaded and compares it to the total presentation size. The result is applied to the _x scale value of a preloader bar. And if the total presentation hasn't loaded yet, it goes back and checks again. When the loading is finally completed, a different decision is made. This time, the preloader bar is made to disappear and the main presentation begins. There are a few types of conditions available for us to use, but here we're going to concentrate on the if-else statement. It's one of the most common conditional statements, and the principles of using it apply to the other ones as well. So, once you're comfortable with this, you'll be well on your way to using all of them. The first half of this, if, is located under Statements in Conditions and Loops. We're going to do this with Script Assist turned off, but as always, you can try it yourself with it turned on as well. The process is very similar. Okay, so I'm going to use a keyframe at frame 10 to hold my code. First off, I'm going to add a stop action. We don't want this timeline to fly past this point willy-nilly unless we tell it to. You can type it, as I'm doing, or add it from the window at the left. If you need to, review the earlier lesson on timeline control to find it. Okay, now we'll create a new line, and double-click down here to add the if to your script. Okay, an if action has two parts, with a possible third. The first part is the condition. That's the question we're going to ask. The second part is what we want to happen if that condition is met. And the third part, which is optional, is what we want to happen if that condition is not met. The condition goes inside the parentheses. Here we're going to check the contents of a fictitious variable called myVariable and see if it is equal to the number 10. So inside the parentheses we type the name of the variable and then two equal signs and the number 10. We use one equal sign to manually set something and two of them to check for equality. So one of them is a command, two of them is a question. And we don't need a semicolon after this because it's enclosed inside the parentheses. So if this condition is met, what do we want to have happen? Well, in this example, I want the main timeline to go to frame 20 and stop. At frame 20, I've made a text indicator that tells us that the routine is finished. The instruction for the timeline to go to frame 20 and stop is the statement itself. It goes between the curly brackets. So, position your cursor just to the right of the top or left curly bracket and hit the Enter or Return key. Now we can drop in the statement. Notice that Flash is nice enough to automatically indent this for you. Very important to keep code formatting standard. We've already covered the go to and stop action. So this should be easy. Drop it in. We'll put frame 20 and the semicolon. And this part of our work is finished. We're not completely done yet though, because we haven't yet decided what's going to happen if our variable doesn't equal the number 10. And that we're going to set up in the next lesson. So let's move on.